Along the New Jersey coastline, kind of a different story here with icy floodwaters surging into neighborhoods. In North Wildwood, authorities there said the flooding actually was half a foot higher than what this town saw during Superstorm Sandy. That was 2012. In Ocean City, streets were covered with as much as a foot of icy water, and then of course there was high tide, which made everything worse. Jericka Duncan is on the phone, heading now to Wildwood. So what's the situation here? They've got to go in and clean out ice?
Yeah, Contessa, we're headed there right now. When I spoke to the captain there, Captain Sacco, he described this as well as this is close to, if not just as bad as Sandy. He said pretty much everything west of Park Boulevard in that area is flooded. So he said there are crews there, utility companies trying to restore power to the homes that obviously lost it, that there was minor flooding for some, but that there was major flooding for others. So we're definitely interested in seeing that, because I think when you look at some of the images from other towns along the shore, like Manasquan, which is where we were for the past couple of days, you realize that there was some street flooding, but all in all, no one was comparing this to Sandy. So to hear that this small community down here in Wildwood, about 100 miles south from where we were, is saying that this is just as bad, if not worse than Sandy, definitely we are heading down there to really find out what's going on and just how that community is coping with the amount of snow, with the amount of surge, and as you mentioned, just that perfect storm with the lunar tidal, the full moon, and all of these things coming together. So we're headed down there right now. One of the things that I did also speak to Captain Sacco about is he expressed that about 100 people, he said, were evacuated and taken to shelter. Now, they were actually taken to a community called Woodbine, which is about 30 miles north and more inland from Wildwood. So we're thinking about, or we're working on seeing if one of our crews can actually go to that location to see who is still sheltered in this Woodbine Developmental Center, apparently, and is still in need of help because maybe they couldn't meet up with friends and family, as a lot of people did last night, as well as go, of course, to the community where all of this stuff is happening. Also wanted to note that Governor Christie said this morning that all in all, things went well. There were a lot of people still without power, but he said there were fewer than 300 accidents total. I can tell you just 13 miles outside of Wildwood, again, we'll be there probably in the next 15 or 20 minutes, the snow is not heavy at all. So, again, he was happy to report that there were no major accidents, and most importantly, he said there were no deaths in New Jersey because of the storm, and we know that was not the case with Sandy. So, again, the shore is particularly sensitive to these sort of storms because of what they experienced more than 3 years ago. So we're headed again to Wildwood to check out the damage and see what that community is faced with. But all in all, along the Jersey Shore, the shore towns held up much better than they did when you compare it to something like Superstorm Sandy.
Yeah, even though the confluence of events there was similar. It was interesting yesterday because Chris Christie was holding these news conferences during the storm and telling reporters, lecturing reporters, not to compare it to Sandy. And yet in this one particular town, it looks like they were just inundated with water. By the way, I just wanted to mention as well, the situation in New Jersey is not cleared up. The trains still, when I came into Penn Station, there were cancellations from New Jersey Transit. Their trains not up and running yet, where Amtrak was. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that was also something the governor mentioned in his news conference today, that he said, the transit systems in New Jersey, they were hoping would resume somewhere around noon. And I actually just got an email from a spokesperson from the governor's office in reference to the state of emergency. And he basically explained that it's kind of, it's still in place, but it's more on a case-by-case basis in terms of each community allowing people to kind of get back there on the roads and maybe opening up certain roadways that were closed. But technically right now, we're still in a state of emergency. So the hard part is over. Snow is stopped. The sun is out. Now people are cleaning up, shoveling, and, of course, in this case, in Wildwood, they're going to be trying to stay safe, essentially, and clean up whatever they can at this point. But making matters even worse is this water is freezing cold. So people probably really can't even get into certain areas maybe as they would have. Again, I hate to go back and forth with Sandy, but it is different, but it's the same. At the end of the day, when you have people losing homes, their livelihood, businesses, or it's impeding business for them, they can't get to work or what have you, you do have to take that into consideration. So we're headed that way, and we will definitely be bringing our viewers the story tonight on the evening news, and of course bring you guys whatever pictures we can throughout today.
All right, Jericka, thank you so much for calling in and giving us an update there from New Jersey.